to Unlock Within, Unleash What's Possible, episode number 2. Peace out. So, well, no,
I'm not
peace
peace out.
Peace
Hey,
in.
That was our episode. Very nice to be with you. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night, whatever, whenever you're watching.
This episode is all about the silence.
Silence. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Just close your eyes.
The nothing.
Yes, close your eyes, and it's going to be a great, great episode.
Oh, so last weekend, Rob and I were taking a walk on the beach on Saturday morning, and I have been very lucky to be very busy lately.
I can't stop laughing at that. Okay, I collect myself. So we were on the beach walking.
Yes. And as I was saying, I have been very fortunate to be very busy lately, teaching classes, workshops online, and doing a lot of private coaching, either in person or on Zoom.
Now, you said you've been very fortunate to be busy.
Yes. Busy doing what I love.
But why busy? Why does it have to be busy? I think, knowing you like I know you, you feel very fortunate that you were doing what you love in such a full way.
Yeah, that's really fascinating.
Busy? Why is busy such a word? Busy's a really good thing.
Wow.
Not.
This is really good because this really ties into what I wanted to talk about.
Yes, it does.
Yes,
and this
it
is also
does.
part of one's conditioning.
Yes.
Busy as a bee. Why is that good? How do you know bees aren't overworked?
Aw. I'm stressed out. Aw, the little bees.
No, they're worker bees. They're bee. Well, we don't know.
Yeah, we really don't. So, last Saturday, when we were walking on the beach, I shared with Robert that day I was just doing all fun things for myself all day long and into the evening. And I said, Jesus, Rob, I think I have a productivity virus. A having to be busy, making money virus, basically, is what was coming up for me. I literally was feeling, not overly so, but I was feeling a bit guilty.
The puritanical background.
Yes.
That hidden virus.
Yes.
That's so deeply unconscious. Yeah. The guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Not busy enough. Not working hard enough. God, well, really, you're not supposed to really be having a great time doing what you love. That's a lie.
Well, it's interesting the way we were conditioned as children.
Okay.
You know, in some regards, I'm the only person in my family that is doing what she loves and doing well financially. Most of us were brought up by very well-meaning parents who didn't have the ability to give themselves what they really found to be a turn on, what really lit them up. And so then, unconsciously or consciously, they expected their kids to do the same thing. So this has a lot to do with, well, it has a lot to do with so many things. Also, what's occurring to me right now is how hard it is for so many people to feel joy.
You get killjoys, but not feel joys.
Yes, a lot of killjoys in our families.
There are people that feel joy, by the way. For sure. There are. We're not talking globally here.
Yes. I am saying, though, that what I've noticed working with clients now for over 20 years is that for many, many people, they have a harder time feeling joy than they do a lot of other emotions. Something Robert and I started saying, goodness gracious, I think it was back in like 2017 or 18, we would say, and I still say, how good can you take it?
Many people have the thoughts that come by, when's the shoe going to drop? You've heard, you guys know this, but there's a habit in the nervous system, in the mind, to anticipate something going wrong.
Yes.
And that's a habit. And the reason habits are challenging and difficult to break is because they're connected and rooted in the nervous system survival mechanism. So the brain and nervous system, from that perspective, letting go of a non-resourceful belief feels frightening. We experience it as frightening. But the brain and nervous system, I have to hold on to it to survive. So if the habit pattern is always expecting the shoe to drop, something bad's going to happen, whatever that is, and that's coming also from, here's a great example of this. I think I might have mentioned I'm a Knicks fan on our first episode. I'm guessing I did.
I think you did.
Because right now the Knicks are in the NBA Finals and they're up 2-0. But I was saying to Michelle, if you look at their star player, it's funny to say star player, I think they're a star team. And I really think that Jalen Brunson he's a superstar. I think Karl Anthony Towns is a star too and a superstar. And but that's not the point I want to make. The point I want to make is Jalen Brunson, an incredible player and incredible team player, was so loved as a child by both his parents. I mean, so loved. His father had tough love. You know, Jalen Brunson wanted to be a professional basketball player at 9 years old. And his father, who was a professional basketball player, trained him. And I'm not going to get into his whole story, although it's a fascinating, beautiful example of this. He is a really remarkable example of one who is very loved by his parents, who has a confidence, who's dedicated, who is so disciplined, who gives everything he has to his excellence and to his teammates' excellence. And he's just so grounded. And so there's a maturity that you don't often see. Even how they talk when they ask about the other team, you know, they're very acknowledging of the other players and the other team. There's no childishness, no immaturity in their responses.
That's true confidence.
Yeah, it really is. And they have great respect. He has great respect for the other team. So do the other players. It's really a remarkable thing that's happening in New York City, by the way. And whether you like sports or not, if you have an opportunity to tune in and watch some of it, watch their responses after games, there's incredible lessons in life about success, about teamwork, about self-discipline, about putting your teammates first in that you want them to succeed, and trust. There's such trust going on, and faith in each other. It's remarkable to watch what's happening. And should they win this championship, it's going to be a really wonderful, positive energy for that city and for expecting the best rather than the shoe's going to drop. So it's a really, really great thing that's going on there, and understanding the dynamics of successful living.
Yeah, for sure.
And really being there and playing for each other, where each person's success is my success. I'm talking if I'm a ball player.
Sure.
My teammate's success is my success. I heard a beautiful sage once say, "Your happiness is my happiness." And that's really kind of cool when you can get to that. That's a mature place.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to address something. When I was younger, I dealt with a tremendous amount of catastrophic thinking. I mean, it was just wild how often this would come up for me around the silliest things sometimes. And I've worked with quite a few people that have this. A lot of times you'll notice it's coming up when you're moving to a new level of success. You're pushing into your neural thermostat. That's something we talked a lot about in our first episode. Comfort zone, upper limit are other words for neural thermostat. And what happens is when you're stepping out of your comfort zone, you're pushing into that conditioning. And so sometimes what can happen is something good will happen for you, and you'll notice the catastrophic thinking coming up. So I just wanted to throw out there a little tip, something that can be really helpful around that. Because a lot of times when we have something like that coming up, negative thoughts, scary thoughts, we will judge ourselves. We'll get mad. geez, I've been doing this work for so many years. How come my mind is being so mean right now, or whatever it is, scary? And what I want to suggest is the moment you see that happening, it's a beautiful opportunity to take a moment, let your belly relax, and bring curiosity forward. Something I oftentimes talk about is the more resistance that's coming up in us, something we spoke about in our workshops too, the more probable it is that there's something really good on the other side. So there's different ways we could speak to this, to the degree of the anxiety, anger, resistance, or whatever it may be. It means that you're at a threshold. And having a sense of playfulness about it and curiosity, I have found, is really, really helpful. Because the more we judge ourselves, the more we stay in the loop. And one other thing I'll say about this, you can't be curious about a reaction you're having and be in the reaction at the same time. So the moment you start to bring in the curiosity, some type of a process that helps to calm your nervous system, it could simply be going for a walk, you have now begun to move out of the chaos, I think is a fun way to say it.
There's cultural catastrophic thinking that is cultured into us.
That's a good one.
Very simple ones. When you're young, you ever watch the news? The news now, I don't watch the news, but I'll tune once in a while. I'll see it's on. I'll take a peek. It's not on here, but if I'm outside, I'll see it on somewhere. Like something, there's a TV, not a gym. I could be going by a store and I'll see it, or whatever. Or if I'm on the internet, I'll see something flash. It's the same news as when I was 7, 8, 9. It's the same themes. So there's this cultural catastrophic thinking. I'm considered a senior citizen. Yes, I like a little more respect. I don't relate to it at all, but I'm on Medicare now.
We were at a car wash about a month ago,
yeah.
And Rob said to me, he's 66. He said, wow, in 14 years, I'll be 80. And I was like, wow, yeah, that's correct.
Now, the reason I'm bringing up the Medicare, all of a sudden I start getting all these things sent to me, conditioning me to go to doctors and hospitals. It was so crazy. I'm like, look at this. I'm supposed to now start having things that are going to happen, that I should be on medication. And I was just watching this happening. And I said to you, look at this. You hit a certain age, they condition you that you're going to be going to doctors, be on prescriptions, go to hospitals. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. Says who? Really? You can go back to indigenous cultures that have none of this conditioning. And under certain situations, they're living almost centenarians in extraordinary health. Native Americans were incredible species. There was a dentist, Weston A. Price, when he came into the Tahitian Islands, this is going back, I think in the 30s, he had never seen such beautiful, vibrant, stunning specimens of human beings in his life. He couldn't believe that it existed. And they did not have any of our conditioning. I have a friend who tells me in Pisac, Peru, he says he's never seen such happy people in his life. He says nobody's stressed out and they're just happy. That they just don't have anything else in their system. So what we conceive, we perceive. I'll say that again. What we conceive, we perceive. And a great part of our conceiving has so much to do with where were you born? What environment did you grow up in? Which affects coming from your parents, coming from schooling, coming from TV. It's all conditioning you. All of it. Well, in Pisac, Peru, in certain indigenous tribes, they don't have this conditioning. Have you ever wondered about that, by the way? I don't think, it wouldn't be a bad idea if an indigenous culture was watching the Knicks right now. I'm kidding. They have no idea what basketball is. They have no idea. what an economy is. I'm not, by the way, saying that I for us to go and be indigenous. I want to make this clear. I just want to emphasize that our conditionings are our conceivings and become our perceivings. Now, somebody could say this, but again, you see, I listen to what people say and then I discern around it. I think about these things. Now, some people would say, if you go back to primitive man, well, the nervous system got conditioned to look for danger because it was dangerous.
Sure.
And some people will say, well, that's now encoded in there. Even though we have all of these wonderful comforts today, whether it's an air conditioner or heater, you know, in a very healthy situation, people would all have food, clothing, and shelter. I do need to say that in a healthy situation. But these comforts, they're here. We have a better life than ever with technology. So some people would say, but there's still that thing from way back when, always looking for danger. But how come there's people that don't have that? So I don't see it that way. There's definitely, we know through neuroplasticity, right?
Yep.
There's a malleability of the brain to generate new neurons, new perceptions, new conceptions. Now people who know me, everybody's about, in the world today, here's so much about mindfulness. I happen to be about empty mindfulness, which makes no sense, did it? Empty mind, right, actually has a different kind of fullness, is what I mean. It's very different. Mindfulness is a big buzzword. Those who know me know that I'm really about the empty mindness, because that actually transcends the mindfulness and all that tension that can come with having to be aware of things. I just went on another tangent.
So I want to address something Rob was just talking about. He was talking about, we're perceiving what we conceive, the conditioning from the childhood has so much to do with what we're perceiving. I have a relatively new client and she started a new job. And she was saying in one of our sessions that the people that are training her, the people above her, are snakes. And they can't be trusted and that kind of thing. So I started to dig a little bit deeper. And she shared with me that her mother was a very untrustworthy kind of gal. She would lie a lot. She unfortunately put her needs ahead of her children's needs in a lot of ways. And of course, that's all going back to the way she was conditioned as a child and her family. So what I suggested to my client is that most likely what she's doing at this new job is she's perceiving the people that she's working with and that are training her through the lens in which she saw her mom. And it really blew her mind, because what it also means is that when she's in the training aspect of this, as I like to say, she's time traveling back into the past and not even knowing it, and superimposing on these people what they're not. And this is one of the things I love to talk about the most, because we can do this in different situations and places, and we don't even know that we are doing it. And as Robert was saying earlier, it is literally a survival mechanism. It's just fascinating to me. Again, going back to what I said a little while ago, if you find yourself doing that, bring curiosity forward. Move into that beginner's mind, curiosity. And I would also suggest doing whatever it is that really helps you to feel safer in your nervous system.
What else do you want to talk about?
I think that was a lot for today.
No. We're not hardly here yet.
What do you want to talk about?
I'm asking you.
I'm good.
I'd like to talk a little bit more. Having fun, enjoying hearing all about this myself, hearing Michelle's perspectives. Inspiration and action. Because we were talking about that on the beach, and we had said we got to talk about inspiration and action. So
we do a lot of deep talking at the beach.
Yes,
we do.
Yeah. So what do you want to say about inspiration and action? See,
Well,
inspiration. Go ahead.
I will say this. A lot of people are just doing, taking all of these actions, coming from what I was speaking about before, this productivity virus, right? I got to be constantly doing something. So, what I would say about that is, again, whatever floats your boat. If you like meditation, exercise, yoga, going to the gym, taking a bike ride, whatever it may be, that's a really good thing to do in the morning. Because when you're on the beach, taking a mountain hike, whatever it may be, you're a lot more likely to be inspired because you're in nature. You're moving your bodies. So it can also be a really good place to brainstorm and that kind of thing. Because I think you'll move into a place if you are doing something that's regulating for your nervous system where inspiration comes forward and then you can take action on that. That's what I would say about it.
It's funny. I mean, so you're saying it in the morning. How about the people that actually are the nighttime people?
Well, I think I'm saying about it in the morning, and I love what you're bringing up.
Yeah.
Because
Because I want to make clear, there's no generalities here.
Sure.
Everybody's unique.
Sure.
For a long period, your daughter, my stepdaughter, was a night owl.
Mm-hmm.
An extraordinary creative person. She's so creative. She's still. And it's amazing the things she could produce creatively. Sure. Now she's a morning person.
Sure.
Still is creative.
Yeah. Well, I was speaking more to people that were like getting involved in their day and their work or whatever it may be sometime between 9 a.m. and noon, I guess. But Rob's right. Some people feel most creative later in the day or at night.
Yeah, exactly. What we're really getting at is the inspiration part and the action because, one of my favorite quotes, a few that I like, but, that I like the ones that actually not just inspire, but get you in action because action is the separation, I think, from, where the game really shifts for you. And the quote was, action delayed is action abandoned.
Say that again, Rob.
Action delayed is action abandoned. For example, when do I take action, honestly?
Immediately.
Something comes up, you take action. If you're somebody that's not like that, write it down. Write down the actions you need to take then. If you're not the type that's going to right away take the action. So inspiration that leads to action, to me, is inspiring. Inspiration that leads to inaction is...
It's dreaming.
What they say about the difference I once heard between a dreamer and a visionary is the visionary takes, the visionary takes action. Inspired action. Yes, they take where the dreamer just dreams. Yeah. In other words, dreaming is, if you're just dreaming, it's safe. If you're taking actions, it's not safe. What I mean by not safe is you're going to go up against, most likely, like everybody else in the world, you're going to go up against obstacles. There'll be other resistances internally as well as externally. That's just the way life is. That's not being negative. There's a big difference between being realistic and being negative. Somebody who's not negative will look at these challenges and these are opportunities for me to grow from. For example, I'll go back to the Knicks. There's no way they're in the position they're in if they hadn't faced adversity. And their coach said something brilliant the other day, Mike Brown. He said this. He said, during the course of the year, he said this, I was hoping we'll go through adversity because we'll know how to handle it when the playoffs come. We will not know who we are if we don't face these adversities and these challenges. And by facing them, we'll know who we are as individuals and as a team together. It's like, sharpening the blade, the hot iron, going through these things. It's what makes us us and lets us know our abilities and what we're capable of. And much more than we realize. So to want to avoid adversities, want to avoid the challenges will weaken you. Wanting to face the challenges and face the adversities because you're going to face them.
Like we said last time, the shit's still going to hit the fan.
Right. And it's the willingness to go face it, the willingness of all of that and put yourself out there. That's not weakening. It's strengthening.
It's very strengthening.
And that strengthening becomes inspiring, and that inspiration leads to more inspired actions. So it's a wonderful thing, this inspiration and this action. When you're inspired, see, how can I take action on this inspiration? What action can I take? Because as another very wise man once said, thinking is a poor excuse for taking action. Thinking is a poor excuse for taking action. So action is key.
It is.
Yeah, right? Shakespeare's Hamlet, at the very end of To Be or Not to Be, and in this regard, their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. It's talking about facing all this adversity and this difficulty that is really speaking probably collectively at that time, but you could say this time, and that many people, because of adversity, lose the name of action, rather than it's through adversity that you want to build up the strength of your actions. And that's a cool thing. You see it in nature. It's actually part of nature. It's part of nature.
For sure.
They say there's no free lunch. You've heard that expression, all these, expressions. Well, you look at a tiger, a glorious, beautiful, beautiful animal, it's a warrior. The tiger's like a warrior. The reason I say a warrior is they're up against a good deal of adversity, a good deal of challenges. It's not like the deer goes like this. Oh, hi, come get me. I'm ready. And it doesn't work that way. I'm going to come to you today. You don't have to chase me. I'm coming to you. And it's unlike the other tigers in the nearby territory are like, hey, Ralph, you can have my territory. You go do whatever you want. Have a field day at it. This tiger's Ralph, obviously. Yeah. And for people of my generation and my age, when Ralph goes home, he's like, all right, Alice. No, I'm just kidding. The fact of the matter is that tiger is facing a lot of adversities and a lot of challenges. It's facing territorial adversity. It's nature. It's facing the prey has an incredible intelligence. It's gone through adversity, the ones that live a longer time. So in nature has a refining quality to it, a honing. And if we're not willing to face our challenges and face our adversities, we can't get honed. You see? You just can't. How are you able to speak so, so not just knowledgeable, your sense of knowing, your intuition. Michelle has this extraordinary ability in where I see it over and over when she works with a client to see things and get things that honestly most people don't see and get. But that's been honed. That's been honed through your own inner adversity and then seeing adversities that others go through. I mean, I'm speaking for you, but how would you express that?
It's interesting what you're bringing up because I have a pretty uncanny ability to remember almost everything I hear.
You have like that what is that? Audio, photographic audio.
Yeah.
You hear it, you remember it.
I do. A client recently was commenting on it, how I just remember everything. And here's what I said. I said, I had a pretty difficult childhood in a lot of ways, and it made me hypervigilant. And I always felt like I had to take care of my mom and my brother and my sister, oldest female here. And that wasn't fun as a child. It really wasn't. It was stressful. But it made me an amazing actress in a lot of really interesting ways. And it did something wild with the mind for me in terms of, I remember something, I'll say in a client situation right now, that they told me 5 months ago. They may have just mentioned it. And then they'll tell me something in a session 5 months after that, and all of a sudden my mind just puts all the pieces together. And I'm able to be very clear around what exactly is going on in terms of triggers or however you want to put it. So that's a really, really interesting example for me that adversity as a child then turned into a real gift as an adult.
Yeah, I want to say you said Michelle is a wonderful actress, but I want to say something. Like you said that about yourself, and it's true. And you had to study. You had to put in the time. You had to earn the talent. You had to earn the gift of that talent. It wasn't like you could just do it. Do you know what I mean by that? Because you studied with me.
Yeah, I'm not so sure I agree with that you have to earn your talent.
Well, maybe earn's not the right word, but it's a better word. You have to be devoted to your talent.
I think
let me say it
is a
this
better
way.
way to
I mean,
say it.
well,
Not earn.
well,
I don't like the word earn.
well, fine. Stephen Curry, the greatest shooter ever. Nobody shoots as many basketballs as he does a day. And his talent's extraordinary. Marlon Brando, my favorite actor. I call him the Buddha of acting. When he was with Stella Adler studying in New York, 2 to 3 hours a day, he'd go to Times Square and just study human behavior. Just 2 to 3 hours just doing that. When he did the movie The Men, where he's playing a paraplegic, for 1 month, he lived in the VA, where there had been men in the army that had lost use of their legs, and he didn't use his legs for 1 month. You know, I mean, I'm talking about that kind of dedication. Yeah, Marlon Brando comes along, this incredible actor, and Streetcar Named Desire, and in On the Waterfront. He earned it. He put his devotion and love and time, like you've done it in the work you do. You know,
it's interesting. I want to bring up something.
Like I, you know, but I'm just saying, I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter if your desire, in quote, is to be a great actor, be a great director, be a great entrepreneur, be a sage. It doesn't matter. There is a commonality, and it has to do with tremendous earnestness, which means incredible passion for it, relentlessness, and devotion to it.
Yeah, I just want to mention something really important. Rob and I have been talking about this forever.
And
we all have a different relationship with words. As Rob just really laid that out and described it, I could see why he used the word earn. For some reason, I don't like that word in that regard. But the way he just described that with Brando and all of that, and, you know, the different basketball players, I really could see why he's using that word. So it's really important to understand that, because something we used to talk about in our workshops. You know, the mind is always looking for something to get pissed about, something to get turned off about, something to get annoyed about. And that's why it's so important, if something rubs you the wrong way in terms of the way you use that word, it's important to stay open. To stay open, because it could be a very interesting defense mechanism that's coming up.
Yeah. You know, and you know, I may use words like Michelle didn't relate to that. You know, of course, you know, one of the joys of communicating is finding the way the word works that you understand. You know, that's a fun part of it. You
I
know,
like the idea of honoring your talent. Yeah, honor's a nice word.
How about
respecting your talent.
Yeah.
By working at it, so to speak.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about inspiration and action, Mr. Colt?
There's no rules, you know. There's no formulas.
No.
I would ask for you, you know, after watching this, maybe you're getting inspired for an action hearing this. I don't know.
I hope so.
But what can you do in the next few days? You know, what actions could you take, you know, on your own behalf? And the interesting thing is, actions can lead to inspiration as well.
Yes.
And then you're inspired. You know, I just had put together, for example, you know, we have our new website, coltcoaching.com, coltcoaching.com. I have a new website that just got literally built for my acting classes. I do that as well, robertcoltstudio.com. And it was put together so beautifully that it's inspired me even more, and looking at taking my next actions because of that inspiration. And I also have, I'm an actor as well, and I also have now an actor website for me, robertcolt.com. And that's inspiring, it's inspiring actions. So what can you do for yourself that inspires you? And we're both very inspired to be doing what we're doing with Colt coaching. Like we're kind of, firing on all pistons right now. It feels like it's revving up, and firing on all those pistons. And I'm passionate about all of that. I'm passionate about getting up early in the morning. I get up very early. Why? So I can meditate. That's my thing, and do my practice, and then get into exercise, and get the body really moving into exercise, keeping it as healthy as possible. To me, that's an important action. You need, the healthier you are, the easier it is to be inspired and be in action overall. That's my experience. Do you find that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's something else I want to say too, really important. Most of the time, the mind is going to tell you you're not ready to take the actions. That's what the mind does. I just want to say that. So you don't want to get caught up in that. Again, the thought that comes up that says, oh no, wait 2 weeks to take this action. It's just one of the 20 to 70,000 thoughts you're going to have that day. And it's coming from that place of everything we've been talking about, survival and safety and all of that. And just know that that's what the mind does. And it's not an asshole. It's just doing what it thinks it needs to do to help you feel safe. Take the action.
So just a few things. We're going to be in New York in July. I have an in-person acting class happening. Just at robertcoltstudio.com is how you can find out more about it. I only have room for 10 people. We are also going to be doing a special event together, our first one in over 6 years. We'll be doing that in New York City on July 15th. I believe it's 7 to 9 p.m. It'll be. It's going to be a very special event, live event. And we're going to bring in something very cool that's going to be great for your life to hear and inspiring. And I'm sure you'll be wanting to go into action after that talk as well. That's going to be a really special event. We haven't done it in a while. I'm really looking forward to getting back. We're going to be available for private coaching, which is, about helping you have greater success and well-being, and seeing whatever it is you need to look at and work on. And, we're looking forward to getting back into action in that way too. And also, there will be availability to work with both of us, but that's super limited time for that in the space.
Both of us together at the same time.
Yeah, that's super limited to be able to do that. Anything you want to add to this?
Keynotes. We are really looking forward to doing that. And again, that will be available with either one of us or both of us together. Yay.
Yes, and my working with entrepreneurs, business leaders, people, men and women that need to give incredible, inspiring talks and speeches. I'm helping them with that.
Me as well.
Not just, actors, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs. The whole thing is open now. So, it's funny. It's like just living fully. And I'm not saying mindfully. I'm saying actually empty mind fully, because so much of the mind gets in the way and chews up one's life. And we were talking about that today. Last thing I'll say about that. I looked at the sky and the sun was gone for a moment. Remember?
Behind a cloud.
And there was a tiny cloud. And I said, that tiny cloud is like a thought that could hook somebody, a thought that's not helpful. And here, you've got all this great energy, and, you're shining inside. It's a metaphor, the cloud and the sun. And it just takes one cloudy thought to come by that you take delivery of and believe it. As a very wise man said, a man named Sailor Bob Adamson, right? It's like you take delivery of that thought, right? And now you've engaged it. And the only reason it has power over you is because you believed it. You gave it the energy of belief. You gave that thought the belief that it's true. And now you catch yourself, you're having a bad mental hair day. All it takes is one thought.
You're resisting it actually turns it into a storm cloud.
Good, that's a great one. But what if you're not the thought or the thoughts? What if thoughts are happening, but you're not those thoughts?
You're not.
Because if you believe you're those thoughts, then you're going to have to experience those thoughts, whatever they are. So that's just something, that's for a future talk, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, that could go in the future. So thank you for being with us.
Yes.
This is fun.
So fun.
By the way, one of the criteria for me, whatever I'm doing, is to bring in the fun. And the most beautiful compliment I ever got in my life was from an actress back in Los Angeles about the way I work with actors. And it's my favorite compliment to this day ever. She said, Rob reminds us how to have fun again.
Yes.
And I always think of that, and I'm always grateful to her. And she's a very gifted, talented actress, and she's actually a lot of fun. So have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day or evening, whenever it is you're watching or listening to this.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll be back with a new episode in a week, I would imagine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.